Welcome to Bituminous Kole. On today's show, I'll take you to some of the corners of the state of Indiana to show you excursion train action. What do people like? And not just rail fans. What do they like about excursions? Well, top of the list, riding the train, of course. But there's also vintage equipment to enjoy and look at. So, there's riding the train made up of vintage equipment on rail lines that haven't seen freight service in decades. There's the clickety-clack. It's not just preservation of old locomotives, coaches, and cabooses. No, it's also preservation of the line. Vintage equipment? Sometimes super rare even. Let's go to the Whitewater Valley Railroad. Let's go to the Hoosier Valley. Let's go to the Indiana Rail Experience. Let's go to the trains. Our first excursion takes us to Ohio, actually, just across the Indiana line in the town of Eden. The big draw for this excursion was the legendary nickel plate 765. Unfortunately, it had a mechanical issue. Hopefully nothing major, and it was replaced by the absolutely gorgeous nickel plate 358. It's an SD9 with a high hood, but look at that gleaming shine. It looks like the volunteers got out the turtle wax ahead of this run. Built in 1957, merged into the Norfolk and Western, and then Norfolk Southern, and retired by NS in 2007. It was rebuilt by the Fort Wayne Historical Society over a 6-year span. That paint job is pretty recent, but it does really shine. As the train departs Eden, I'll note that this westbound train will cross into Indiana in about 2 minutes. The trailing unit here is a chop-nose GP7U, owned by the host railroad, the Indiana Northeastern. The locomotive gleaming, and the rolling stock is top rate. The Pullman Car, wow, that is amazing. And as the train rolls by, we realize there's something here for the red hats and the green hats alike. Now for me, the observation car. This is truly astonishing. I love the beautiful, streamlined design. I've added the website below for the Indiana Rail Experience for your reference and convenience. Oh yeah. That was fun. Now here's a reminder about vintage equipment. It's old. So it can be prone to mechanical issues, as happened with nickel plate 765. The curators of vintage equipment, they're going to protect it. What's the phrase? Out of an abundance of caution. So be aware that last-minute equipment changes can occur. Keep an open mind. I mean, as second fiddle goes, NKP 358 is pretty darn great. Next stop, North Judson, Indiana, and the Hoosier Valley. You may recall the recent Bituminous Kole feature video on the Hoosier Valley. Well, here's a follow-up. I went this time for the steam excursion powered by wood-burning Bach Lumber Company No. 1. Alas, Bach Lumber Company No. 1 also had mechanical issues on this day. No matter, the train would be pushed and pulled by Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern 818. Originally built in 1959 as an SD9, just like the NKP 358 we just saw. But this one was later rebuilt as an SD-M. Leading the trip out on the shove, Monon Business Car No. 2, also known as the Lynne. The car is over 100 years old, and it did serve the Hoosier line, the Monon, as a business car. The Lynne is a special coach and one I'd like to ride someday. On this beauty of a day, however, I'd have been happiest in the open-air car, as many riders have chosen. The excursion is being shoved to English Lake, where it will cross the confluence of 3 waterways. It pauses for a moment and then will return, being pulled by EJ&E 818. You can see that the water level is high and that the flow is fast. There were heavy rains in the area, with tornadoes even touching down nearby. When the water really moves, erosion can occur. Here, the Kankakee River, the Yellow River, and Bogus Run all come together, with Bogus Run showing the most erosion. You can see the chocolatey effect of the soil and the water, especially where the 2 rivers do not show much evidence of erosion on their own. I've added the website below for the Hoosier Valley Railroad Museum for your reference and continued convenience. Next stop, Connersville, Indiana, and the Whitewater Valley Railroad. There was no promise of steam on this excursion. Another EMD, this one an SD10, resplendent in Milwaukee Road paint, would lead this train. But really, it's the third locomotive of the show that started life as an SD9. Built for the Milwaukee in 1954, rebuilt then in 1975 to SD10 standards. This one has a low nose also, pulling today's Valley Flyer out of Connersville, Indiana. Well, timing is everything. Didn't expect the police car to be that close to the beginning of the locomotive, and thank goodness it was moving as slowly as it was, the train. But it merits another look. Well, I guess from this angle it didn't look quite as close. And again, thank goodness for that. When chasing the Valley Flyer, I was reminded that Indiana is a state with a great variety of terrain and features. Sure, no mountains, but southern Indiana especially has plenty of hills and forested areas. Quite a pleasant setting for a train ride. The Valley Flyer runs from Connersville to the historic village of Metamora, with Laurel in between. By and by, I decided to get an extra shot just north of Metamora. And wow, am I ever glad I did. Check this out. Armco Steel number 709, an exceedingly rare Lima-Hamilton LS 1000. It's one of only 2 operational Lima-Hamilton switchers in existence. The term rare gets thrown around an awful lot, seldom earns it. This is rare. Holy jumping, what a surprise. It just goes to show you, some surprises can be a little bit disappointing. We've had that in here, but when we temper our expectations, sometimes we're rewarded, and my goodness, were we rewarded here. So I'm going to reward you and show all 3 cameras, one at a time. Here's camera number 2. Hey, that eerie caboose is pretty fine too, huh? All right, let's now see from camera number 3. Oh my goodness, what kind of great luck. Amazing. Woohoo. Only minutes later, the Valley Flyer made its way through. The Valley Flyer has a 2-hour layover in Metamora, so you can look around at the historical buildings and canal, get a bite to eat, and shop. Shop? Ugh, egad. But wait, what's this? The train place? Now we're talking. At the train place, George has all manner of rail memorabilia, tie nails, books, model trains, and many, many lanterns. I got a book, 1947 History of the Nickel Plate. Can't wait to read this. Do compare and contrast with the 1964 John Rehor classic, being on the other side of the mergers and all. I ate a burger at the Martindale house, which had a surplus of kittens running around. Now it was time for the Valley Flyer to depart Metamora and return to Connersville. This bridge is over Williams Creek, a tributary to the Whitewater River. And yes, I did stand in the creek to get these images.
Well, this is pretty lucky. I'm catching up with the train in an area where the Whitewater Valley stores its equipment. And so there's our train. And check out some of the vintage gear they've got stored here. Here. There's their shops. They do have a lot.
The last act in our excursion train review has the Whitewater Valley's Valley Flyer arriving in Connersville to bring the outing to an end. I've added the website below for the Whitewater Valley Railroad for your reference and ongoing convenience. You know, I like for my rail attire to match the situation at trackside, and happily, this EJ&E caboose has the Kartrak barcode on it. Yeah. Got the shirt from Mohawk Design. Do yourself a favor. Get a shirt from them representing your favorite railroad. That's a wrap for another edition of Bituminous Kole. Join me again soon. I'll take you to the trains.